Let's talk redemption, a staple in storytelling across the genres and mediums. And who doesn't like a good redemption arc? I'm sure there's someone somewhere who doesn't, but I am not one of those people. The idea that we can be forgiven and still loved for the mistakes we made is always going to appeal to human nature. And one series known for its redemptive characters is My Little Pony's Friendship is Magic. Hello, I'm Foxart, and welcome to my very first video, and I am an avid My Little Pony fan. Today, I want to explore the redemption of Nightmare Moon, aka Princess Luna, my favorite of the alicorn princesses of Equestria. Yes, even more so than Twilight. Why don't you tell me your favorite alicorn princess in the comments below, and why? Since our topic today is Princess Luna, I've decided to do some fan art of our beautiful moon-inspired alicorn in the background. So get your cupcakes and cocoa and let's get cozy and talk about redemption in my series I like to call Redemption in Retrospect. Now, there are many antagonists who turned from villain to friend in My Little Pony's Friendship is Magic. Not all of them, but quite a few. I'm not sure how other people view this, but given that this is a show about friendship, understanding, and compassion, like it's literally in the title, I am completely okay with this. And it makes sense that the first villain introduced, Nightmare Moon, in the first two episodes of the show would be a redemptive character, setting the bar for the rest of the show itself. So, who is Nightmare Moon, aka Princess Luna? Well, Nightmare Moon is a figure in My Little Pony history who was imprisoned in the moon after she attempted to take control of Equestria by trying to usurp her sister's rulership and bring about an age of tyranny through eternal night. Through the first two episodes, Nightmare Moon escapes her prison, kidnaps Princess Celestia, the current ruler of Equestria, then terrorizes Twilight and her friends as they attempt to find the elements of harmony, which are the only known power that can stop Nightmare Moon from taking over Equestria. They do manage to stop her and use the elements of harmony, not to imprison her, but to transform her back into her former self, Princess Luna. At the end of the second episode, we learn that Nightmare Moon is actually Princess Luna, Celestia's younger sister, who was transformed into Nightmare Moon due to her jealousy and anger. Now returned to herself, Princess Luna shows remorse and sorrow for her actions, and is welcomed home by her sister. Now, you might be saying, but Foxheart, that's a terrible redemption arc. They use magic to make her good again. Isn't that cheating? And I would completely agree with you. Even if the title of the show is Friendship is Magic, and that was the magic that was used to transform Nightmare Moon back into Princess Luna. And yes, it would still be a pretty shoddy redemption arc regardless, if that was the end of it. But it's not. The next time we see Princess Luna make an appearance is in Season 2, Episode 4, Luna Eclipse. Why do they wait so long to reintroduce her? I'm not quite sure, but I have a few ideas. First, this isn't My Little Pony Princess Luna show, no matter how much I wish it was. But also, I think it's safe to assume that she's spending time with her sister, who she hasn't seen in 1,000 years, reacclimating herself with her duties and her powers. In Luna Eclipsed, Luna is faced with the effect her actions had through the years of pony history. She joins the denizens of Ponyville for their yearly celebration of Nightmare Night. This is basically the My Little Pony version of Halloween. As the legend goes, Nightmare Moon scours Equestria to find ponies to gobble up, and so the ponies dress in costumes to hide from Nightmare Moon and collect candy in order to placate the fiendish pony's appetite. Now keep in mind, as far as I'm aware, Nightmare Moon never wanted to commit cannibalism, but during the years, she's become something of a boogeyman to My Little Pony society. And there is honest and genuine struggle with Princess Luna's attempt to connect with the ponies. She desperately wants to show them that they have nothing to be afraid of, and she is no longer the Nightmare Moon from the legends, which the celebration Nightmare Night has been based around. Her first attempts fail miserably. She arrives in a flurry of storm and lightning, on a carriage drawn by bat-winged pegasi and addresses the pony in a booming, overwhelming voice. We learn later that this is a traditional royal voice, and that probably hasn't been used in 1,000 years. The ponies are so frightened of her that they can't comprehend the actual words she's saying, and in this case, words are simply not going to be enough to erase centuries of fear. With the help of Princess Twilight, the only other pony who isn't frightened of her, she begins to make some progress by joining in on the games and celebration of Nightmare Night. But it only takes one slip up, one mistake, to send the ponies back into abject terror. Princess Luna is so shaken and distraught by this, she decrees the cancellation of the holiday. This, of course, devastates all the My Little Ponies. Again, in order to save Nightmare Night and help Princess Luna, Twilight intervenes, encouraging her not to give up. During this time, they learn how special Nightmare Night is to the My Little Ponies, and how being scared can be just another form of fun and way to come together as friends. In the end, Princess Luna connects with the ponies by taking on the role of Nightmare Moon, playing the part to frighten the younger ponies, who offer her candy, and accepting the candy and promising not to eat them. They are thrilled, and beg her to return the next year to celebrate with them, even if she does maintain the cancellation of the holiday. She is, of course, touched by this. I think it's important to note that Princess Luna had to accept her role as Nightmare Moon. She had to accept that part of herself, of her past, regardless of how bad it was, in order to move on, and in order to connect with the ponies around her. This episode shows just how damaging our past actions can be to our reputation, and how scary and disheartening it can be to overcome that. Princess Luna's struggles are important to her redemption, and I don't know about you, but I can't help but feel for Princess Luna during this episode. I empathize with her, and by the end, I'm cheering for her. It's clear how badly she wishes to erase her past, but that's not something we can do. In order for true redemption to happen, just acknowledge her past and move on. Honestly, if this was the end, I'd be pretty satisfied, as this is far deeper an experience than I expected, even if I'm reading a little bit into it. But then again, that's what media is for, isn't it? Putting your own interpretation into the mix. But happily, for me, it's not. Though the ponies have accepted Princess Luna into their hearts, it seems Princess Luna has yet to forgive herself, which we'll address when we talk about the episode When Princesses Sleep, Do They Dream of Magic Sheep? But before we talk about that episode, I would like to briefly touch on the 3 episodes that Princess Luna appears in with the Cutie Mark Crusaders. These are the younger ponies who are focused on getting their cutie marks. Those are the marks that are on the My Little Pony's flanks that are a manifestation of who they are, usually in regards to their passion and purpose. Each episode deals with a specific fear that each of the younger ponies are experiencing. In Sleepless in Ponyville, Princess Luna helps Scootaloo recognize that her fear isn't the spooky headless pony, but disappearing the pony she looks up to, which is Rainbow Dash. And in For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils, she empathizes with Sweetie Belle's jealousy toward her older sister Rarity, and reminds her that there are consequences when letting those feelings control her, something she knows all too well. In Bloom and Gloom, Apple Bloom is trapped in her nightmare of waking up with the wrong cutie mark. Princess Luna helps Apple Bloom understand that if she can accept herself, that there is no need to worry about what cutie mark she gets, because that's all it is. The cutie mark is just a manifestation of who you are. On first watch, these episodes might seem just random cameos for Princess Luna, but I don't think they're random at all, and definitely since they are placed between Lunar Eclipse and When Princesses Sleep, Do They Dream of Magic Sheep. They are a display of Princess Luna's growth, her power, not only as an alicorn, but as a wise and compassionate ruler. She does not scold or berate the younger ponies, she guides them with wisdom she gained through her own mistakes. Her words wouldn't hold as much weight if she didn't have her own struggles with these same fears. I think these episodes are important because in the next Luna-centered story, she faces her most critical, critic, herself. So, after 1,000 years of imprisonment, her transformation, struggles to be accepted back into pony society, and growth in becoming a wise and compassionate princess, we can say that all is forgiven. Princess Luna can move on and continue her benevolent reign with her sister. Well, no, she can't. In order for any pony, or anybody, to move on, they have also to do one more thing, and I would think arguably one of the hardest things is forgiving themselves. In Season 5, Episode 13, Princess Luna confronts a creature called a tantibus. Fun fact, the tantibus is actually Latin for nightmare. And man, what a nightmare it is, too. Apparently, this creature has been infecting and feeding off Princess Luna's nightmare, specifically where she turns into Nightmare Moon, and is defeated by Twilight and the others. It seems that she's using this as a tactic to keep the creature contained, only to have it escape into the dreams of the main six, because we learn if a pony dreams of other ponies while infected by the tantibus, then it will spread to their dreams. This creature gains power by creating nightmares, feeding off the fears, and should it amass enough power, it can then force its way into the real world. So, obviously, it's very important for Princess Luna to either defeat the thing or to contain it once again in her own nightmares. As soon as Princess Luna hears that Twilight and her friends are experiencing the Tantibus in their dreams, she sweeps in to rescue them, or rather, to try to rescue them. While Twilight and her friends are, of course, eager to help, Princess Luna refuses their effort, stating the need to take responsibility for the Tantibus, because she has already caused them so much pain through her actions as Nightmare Moon. Despite her best efforts of chasing the living nightmare through the pony's dreams, Princess Luna fails to contain the Tantibus, but there is still hope. As long as the Tantibus stays confined to the dreams of the six ponies, she still has a chance. Of course, that's not how it goes. That's never how it goes. Because Pinkie Pie just had a dream of the whole village of Ponyville. With that many nightmares, the Tantibus is bound to gain enough power to escape from dreams and turn all Equestria into a living nightmare. Luna, despite not wanting to lay the responsibility at any other pony's feet, must accept the help of Twilight and her friends. In order to make it easier for her to track down the Tantibus, Luna creates one massive shared dream for all the ponies in Ponyville. In this dream, Luna warns the other ponies of the Tantibus just as it descends upon the dream Ponyville. It takes a great deal of power for her to hold the dream together, and so she must again ask for the main six to help her keep the Tantibus from escaping the dream. But the creature has become too powerful, so they enlist the help of the other ponies. This is a really fun part of the episode, as we see Big Mac as an alicorn, Scootaloo with massive wings, Spike as a nightly dragon, and there is one scene where Twilight repairs her old library treehouse and sends a swarm of books to attack the Tantibus, which made me both a little sad and nostalgic. But no matter how hard the ponies try, the Tantibus, in fact, only seems to be growing in power the more Princess Luna despairs. With tears in her eyes, she apologizes for bringing the horror into their midst. And that this is all her fault, once again for causing such pain to the ponies. And this is when we learn that this was not just some magical anomaly she was trying to contain, but something that she herself created. Created to punish herself over and over for what she did as Nightmare Moon. I'd just like to pause here and take a moment to recognize just how intense the supposedly children's cartoon got. Princess Luna created a magical nightmare out of the sheer amount of guilt she felt because she didn't feel 1,000 years of isolation and having to deal with the consequences of her actions was enough. It's obvious the transformation of Nightmare Moon and the defeat at the hooves of the main six was very psychologically painful for her. And it sounds like she had this dream often, if not every time she slept. Every time. She suffered during a time that is meant for rest and repose. She had to have the other ponies point out that she has indeed changed. If she were the old Nightmare Moon, she would have released the Tantibus. but Luna is doing everything she can to stop it. It's time for her to recognize this also and to forgive herself. I just can't with this show sometimes. I've watched adult shows and movies that don't come close to dealing with these issues nearly as well and respectfully as an animated show about magical, colorful horses. And I absolutely love how this ends, as the main six wake up, praising Luna for being able to get rid of the Tantabus, only to find out she's fallen asleep on the floor, with Spike wondering what she's dreaming of, which of course is a peaceful night's rest. It's a satisfying conclusion, surely, but there's just one last thing I do want to touch on, as it highlights how far both princesses, that is, Princess Luna and Celestia, have come in their character growth. In A Royal Problem, Starlight Shimmer, another villain turned friend, and who is now even apprenticed to Princess Twilight, is summoned by the Cutie Map. This is a magical map that alerts them of friendship problems that need to be dealt with. Well, this friendship problem is at the royal palace and between the royal sisters, Princess Luna and Celestia. Of course, this does cause a slight panic in Princess Twilight, and by slight panic I mean various anxious breakdowns, as is appropriate for her character. But it was because of Princess Luna's jealousy and anger towards her sister that she had turned into Nightmare Moon, and therefore it is kind of understandable. This does put immense pressure on Starlight Shimmer, however, to make sure that this doesn't happen again. In an attempt to help the Royal Sisters understand how they are intentionally hurting each other, she does do something pretty drastic, and that is switch their cutie marks, in effect, switching their roles within the kingdom and their powers. This forces Princess Celestia to take on the duties of Princess Luna and vice versa. And while I understand Twilight's concern, it's not exactly unfounded, like I said. It doesn't feel like Princess Luna is about to go all Nightmare Moon on everyone. Though this could be argued that dealing with resentment early on is always better and healthier than waiting it to turn you into a bitter monster. Now, maybe I'm giving this show a little too much credit, but I'm okay with that. Both sisters do learn that each other's jobs aren't as easy as they once perceived them to be. And there's a great scene where Princess Luna is trying to stop Starlight's nightmare, and Luna warns that if she allows the nightmare to continue and is unable to stop it, it will cause severe damage to the pony's mind. I like this little tidbit pointing out the consequences and importance of Luna's job, even though she is forced to do it in solitude, and where nobody really sees her make these efforts to protect pony kind. Although, it does make me wonder if maybe there was a rise of negative mental conditions among the ponies kind while Luna was trapped in the moon. Alright, alright. Now I am digging too deeply. Alright, back to the topic at hand. At Hoof. This brings the sisters closer together once they learn and gather an appreciation for each other and what they both do for the kingdom. And this brings full circle rather nicely what triggered the Nightmare Moon transformation to begin with, confirming that Princess Luna doesn't need to be jealous of her sister, and that only together she and her sister can bring harmony to Equestria. So, was Princess Luna's redemption arc a good one? It is in my books. Rewatching these episodes, I'm not going to lie, it made me a little teary eyed. I felt Princess Luna returning to her rulership and becoming a beloved character within the world of Equestria was definitely deserved. She tackled a lot of problems that we go through ourselves after making huge mistakes, and it illustrates to the viewer, whether adult or child, that with enough effort and genuine desire to change and become a better person, or pony in this case, it's possible to come back from these mistakes. I don't know about any of you, but I think that's a pretty hopeful and powerful message that fits perfectly into a show called Friendship is Magic. Well, thank you so much for joining me with this in depth view of my favorite My Little Pony character, Princess Luna. Well, one of them. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and do all those wonderful YouTube things. Subscribe, comment, and like. If you want to listen to me and my sister Daisy Dream make fun of another kid's show, feel free to check out her video on Unicorn Academy. If you want more My Little Pony content, I suggest this video by Mono Dash for a look into another one of my favorite My Little Pony characters, Rarity. And I hope to do more videos in regards to redemption in retrospect, where I take a look at older media and their redemption arcs. Maybe I'll even compare them to how we do redemption nowadays in certain forms of media. Again, thank you so much for joining me with this video. And if you like the art I did in the background, please feel free to visit the link in the description below for a free digital copy.